this individual here is responsible for what he did. No one else did anything incorrect to cause this.
That person Captain Jack Kennedy talked about is 24-year-old DeKendrick Crawford. Detectives say he faces at least one count of capital murder with more charges on the way. It all unfolded Monday afternoon on Alabama Junction Road in Brookwood. Police say Jose Alvarez Duenas was house-sitting and taking care of a dog for the renter who was out of the country. Bates was also in the home. It turned out at some point in the past, Crawford worked with Duenas and Bates had a business.
Yes, we don't know why he targeted them. They were not doing anything wrong. They had done nothing wrong to him. None of his acquaintances know why this occurred.
Captain Jack Kennedy says the investigation got underway when the renter had trouble getting in touch with Duenas, and so that person called the landlord, who in turn contacted Brookwood police that stopped by to check things out and made their grisly discovery Monday afternoon.
Brookwood police responded with the landlord. Immediately upon opening the front door, they found a deceased individual lying inside that had been shot. The residence was cleared, and a second victim, a female, was found in a back bedroom in the closet. She had been shot as well.
The dog was also shot and killed. The search for the alleged killer quickly hit high gear when the doorbell camera captured an image, according to Captain Kennedy.
After 4 hours of tactical operations, including drones, tear gas, tactical units, walls, doors being breached, and attics being searched with canines, yeah, he gave up. He never gave up. He gave up only because he cared about himself more than his victims.
In Alabama, the courts generally don't allow a capital murder suspect to post a bond, which means DeKendrick Crawford remains in the Tuscaloosa County Jail.
As questions mount over his health, Mitch McConnell's allies say they have spoken to the Kentucky senator. A spokesperson for Senate Majority Leader John Thune says the two spoke by phone Tuesday on a variety of topics. Wyoming Senator John Barrasso says he had a 20-minute conversation with McConnell and discussed the midterm elections and the Supreme Court.
He said, he was feeling okay, obviously well enough to call me on the phone and obviously well enough to talk to Barrasso and Thune. We had a conversation today about the things that we normally talk about.
McConnell was admitted to the hospital on June 14th when paramedics responded to a report of cardiac arrest at his home, according to dispatch audio. His office continues to say he is improving. While hospitalized, McConnell's wife, former Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao, went to China but has since returned. Her spokesperson tells Fox News Digital her husband's health was not grave enough to cancel the trip, adding, quote, the secretary was on a long-planned trip in China to support her family's philanthropic endeavors. McConnell's absence is already having an impact on the GOP's agenda. Last month, 4 Republicans sided with Democrats and passed a war powers resolution because McConnell and Pennsylvania Senator Dave McCormick missed the vote. The former majority leader's absence could make it more difficult for the GOP to pass other key items, including an emergency defense bill. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
While controversial Democratic candidate Graham Plattner has yet to drop out of the Maine Senate race, Democrats are clearly hoping he will.
He's a dead man walking. This is not a question of if, but when.
And conversations have already begun about who might take his place. The party faces a Monday deadline for Plattner to withdraw and still be replaced on the November ballot. Multiple candidates have expressed interest, including former Maine Senate President Troy Jackson, former Public Health Director Dr. Nirav Shah, current Secretary of State Shanna Bellows, and former Maine CDC Director Jordan Wood. The choice would ultimately be up to the Maine Democratic Party, but party leaders would want to avoid the appearance of any kind of backroom deal being made.
They do not want to make this look like the strings are being pulled by Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand in Washington.
Already weighed down by a slew of controversies, including a Nazi-linked tattoo and allegations of sexual assault, another one of Plattner's ex-girlfriends spoke out Tuesday, alleging he had a hostile attitude towards women.
It terrifies me to think of him having any type of power politically, because what is he going to do with the women in his office? How is he going to manipulate? How is he going to deceive?
Plattner's most prominent backers have already pulled their support. Senators Chris Murphy and Bernie Sanders have both issued statements urging Plattner to withdraw from the race. In Washington, Mala Rivera, Fox News.
The United States has launched a series of airstrikes targeting Iran. That comes after it accused Iran of attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has apparently retaliated with missile fire targeting both Bahrain and Kuwait. All this is coming as this interim deal between Iran and the United States is being shaken again. These strikes on ships in the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow mouth of the Persian Gulf through which about a fifth of all oil and natural gas traded once passed, is coming as those ships were trying to avoid being under the control of Iran. There are ships that are going very close to the shores of Oman. The Iranians have insisted that ships must obey its commands and are saying that they will start charging fees on ships moving through that waterway in the next little bit. That's something that's opposed by both the Gulf Arab states and the United States. The Strait of Hormuz has been considered an international waterway for decades. Now, Iran has said that it did suffer attacks. It's reported explosions in the southern part of the country. The U.S. Military Central Command says over 80 targets were hit in its strikes. They say the majority of those targets were small, fast boats used by Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard to harass shipping in the region. Meanwhile, we've had missile sirens go off in both Bahrain and Kuwait. Now, this is what we've seen previously in rounds of violence that have shaken the interim deal. The Americans and the Iranians are trying to negotiate a permanent end to the Iran war that would include a deal over Iran's nuclear program and other issues like the Strait of Hormuz. But those negotiations have been on hold as Iran is conducting a days-long funeral for Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Khamenei's body is now in Iraq today. It will go back to Iran and be buried tomorrow.
President Trump, what is the effectiveness of last night's attack? What message does that send to what's left of the Iranian
Which
Korean?
attack are you talking about?
The attack that you guys had on Iran last night.
So I think it has a tremendous impact. Look, we're not attacking at the highest level. The highest level are the bridges, which we can knock down. I would say in one day we knocked down every single bridge in Iran. There's not a thing they can do about it. Their electric manufacturing facilities, right? Their electric plants where they make their electricity there. We will, if we have to, we'll take them out. I don't want to do that, but if we have to, we'll take them out. They have desalinization plants. We'll take them out if we have to. I hate to do that. That's probably the one I would like not to do least. We attacked Carg Island last night. We knocked out a piece. I said, don't touch the oil, because maybe we'll take over Carg Island. You know, we may take over Carg Island. There's not a thing they can do about it. But I said, don't hit the pipes, just hit everything else. And they hit it. They may hit it again tonight. So, you know, as for your question, normally I'm not that way. But they really deserve it, because they're saying they want to make a deal, but they don't. My whole life is deals. I don't see it. I don't see it with them. And there may be a big attack, and it'll knock out a lot of stuff. We don't knock out nothing. We knock out a lot. But one of the things I think we're going to be talking about today, a little birdie told me this, about the fact that we'll give them the right to make patriots. We'll show them how to do it. It's very complex, actually, but it's you'll figure out the complexity quickly. And we're talking about that, and the company that makes them, which is building now 4 plants, you know, all of our companies, will be able to do this in 2 to 3 months. If you order a Patriot, now you have to wait a long time for them. Same thing with Tomahawks. We have a lot of certain equipment, but with they call it the elite equipment, and you don't need elite equipment necessarily for a war. But so one of the things we're going to be talking about is we're going to give a license to you to make Patriots. That's pretty cool, right? This way you can't complain that we're not giving them enough. I say make them yourself. We haven't informed the company of that yet, but that'll That'll work out all right. You know, I'm sure they'll be thrilled. But, you know, they'll be able to do it. You'll be able to figure that out. Most countries couldn't do that.
Yeah.
If I said that to most countries, they wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But this is a very ingenious group. And what I like about that, it's a defensive situation as opposed to an offensive. But I think one of the things you might want to be talking about is that. That's what I heard. Little birdie told me that.
On Iran, can you clarify?
Greenland doesn't help Denmark. Denmark doesn't spend money to really help Greenland. It was Greenland that, and it continues to be, that should be controlled by the United States, not by Denmark.
Greenland is of course not for sale. We hope that all, including all allies, will respect the Greenlandic people's right for self-determination. And we are a sovereign state, and we need everybody to respect our territorial integrity and our sovereignty. We are ready to defend every inch of NATO, including our own territory.
Our 4th of July will never be the same. Never.
A tragedy no one in Hughes, Arkansas saw coming, let alone Jackson Smith's family.
It just felt like a bad dream.
The 14-year-old boy was severely hurt the night of 4th of July and later died after the family says he was mishandling fireworks.
So he was holding some kind of firework device that should have been on the ground, but that he was actually holding it up.
Smith was airlifted to Le Bonheur Children's Hospital, where he later died.
To know Jackson was to love him. If you were around him, you were laughing, smiling, doing everything.
Last year, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission reported 15 deaths and more than 14,000 fireworks-related injuries nationwide. All this family has now are memories and a community that's using Jackson's story after a cautious reminder.
They should have supervision when they're, under the age of 18 at least. They're dangerous. If they don't know how to properly use them, they're dangerous.
A GoFundMe has been set up where the family is looking to raise $13,000 to help with any needed expenses.
Philadelphia's summer is not slowing down anytime soon. As one global event ends, another national showcase begins. On one side of Patterson Avenue, workers and forklift drivers are dismantling the month-long takeover by the FIFA World Cup. Lincoln Financial Field is transitioning back to Eagles mode right before our eyes. And just across the street, another transformation is underway. At Citizens Bank Park, crews are putting the finishing touches on Major League Baseball's All-Star festivities. On the field, fresh new All-Star logos painted for the Midsummer Classic. It's not just another event, but another load of tourists coming in for a summer of celebrations.
We went to the Liberty Bell and City Hall and Independence Hall and Congress Hall and Carpenters Hall.
The Pratt family from St. Louis is spending the week exploring the city as part of the America's 250th celebration. They say Philly knows how to host.
You are a big city, but you're so well run and it's not as crowded and it's so clean and it's so nice, and I'm the architecture. I can show you my 400 pictures.
In Center City, America 250 banners still line the streets. Now, Major League Baseball colors are taking their place. The changing streetscape reflects one of the busiest stretches Philadelphia has seen in years.
It's a very great thing going on for the city right now. I like to see when everybody come together in the city, very lit.
I love the city. I love sharing it.
And perhaps the biggest takeaway, Philadelphia's reputation may be changing along with all those banners.
I think sometimes people look at Philly and they're like, oh, what a dirty city. And then you see all these huge, world-class things come in here and it's like, oh, maybe it is a lot nicer than we were thinking it was.
All-Star Week starts on Friday with the HBCU Swingman Classic, leading up to the Home Run Derby Monday night and the All-Star Game on Tuesday, which you can see right here on Fox. In South Philadelphia, Chris O'Connell, Fox 29 News.
Well, it was actually unbelievable. We were 10 minutes short to end the game. and we were down 2-0. And when the game ended, we were 3-2. So it's not a regular game. It's probably the best game I've seen in my life for Argentina in a World Cup.
Okay, I was crying since the beginning. I was praying. I have a rosary here. I was very nervous, but I knew that we got this. This is my dad. Yeah, his dream was to come to a World Cup. He was a huge Argentina fan. He unfortunately passed out in 2019. He never got to see Argentina as champions, and it was his dream to come. So I feel like now I'm living both of us' dreams.
Yeah. Where's the ball? Well, may I say, 45 years ago, Prime Minister, Norway played England in the qualification. And we won. And the radio commentator said, Maggie Thatcher, can you hear me? Your boys took a hell of a beating.
Yeah, but what you're leaving out of account is that England only win the World Cup under Labour governments in 1966. So the time is ours.
Wait and see. It will be a great match.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Okay, SMK, vi må gå.
The heat is on, and it can do more than make you uncomfortable. It can be dangerous, and a warning for EV owners, it can drain your battery faster than you might expect.
It goes through battery charge a lot quicker when you're running your AC full time. Also to keep the big battery, the HV battery, cool. It takes a lot more charge. I have to charge it more often, so I charge at home in my garage. I have solar panels, so that helps, but I charge it every day at home.
Keys to keeping you safe after you shut off your car. Temperatures inside can rise fast, jumping as much as 20 degrees in just 10 minutes. So I decided to put it to the test. I'm outside here in Thousand Palms, gonna put a thermometer in my car to track what the temperatures look like hour by hour. We have a GoPro set up in here so we can time lapse that. And we're starting it off with the outdoor temperature of 110 degrees. We're gonna see where it climbs hour by hour as we check in. According to AAA, EVs see an 8.5% reduction in performance at 95 degrees when compared to their performance at 75 degrees. While this may not seem major, it can compound over time, effectively raising operating costs and forcing more time to be spent charging. Now, there are people on the other side of the spectrum who say strategic charging can help to avoid having to plug in during peak heat hours. But one owner tells me he hasn't noticed any deficiencies.
I would say the performance has been unaffected. It works great. As far as the electric power and everything, yeah, no problems at all.
Now, let's check back in with the thermometer we put in my car a little over an hour ago. I haven't opened this door since we put it in here, and currently it's reading about 130 plus degrees, as you can see, showing how dangerous these temperatures inside a stopped vehicle can get. This rapid increase can quickly become dangerous, if not deadly, for pets and children left in the car. Matthew Pierce, News Channel 3.
A new report says home prices are set to decline. Realtor.com's 2026 forecast mid-year update predicts home price growth will slow to just 1.2% this year. That's a slower pace than originally forecast and one that trails behind inflation. Apple says it will invest more than $30 billion in U.S. chip manufacturing. The investment in partnership with Broadcom is set to produce 15 billion chips, which will also create hundreds of U.S. jobs. A new report by LendingTree found the average new car payment rose to an all-time high in the first quarter. The average monthly payment for a new vehicle rose 2.9% from a year ago to a record of $770. Americans in their 30s and 40s originated the most auto loan debt in the first quarter. And Gen Z are taking group trips, but many say their friends aren't paying them back. A Zell study found 76% of Gen Z consumers who have paid up front for a group expense say they were not paid back in full. Some Gen Zers say the experience has damaged their relationships or even pushed them into debt. CJ Papa, Fox News.
We came straight to the source to see how falling egg prices, while good for the consumer, could actually be harmful for some of the smaller egg producers in the United States. We're at Cockadoodle Farms. Marty Thomas is one of the owners here. So people think lower prices, that's good. What's your counterpoint to that?
I mean, the cost to make the eggs doesn't change at all for us. The feed cost is the same. And so, in fact, for us, it's about $3.80 to produce a dozen eggs. And so if we have to sell for less than that, we're losing money.
Yeah, and if you look at the chart, you can see how drastically prices have fallen since last year. In March, I think they peaked above $6 for a dozen of eggs. Now we're down to about $2.19. So you can see how the math might be challenging for folks like you. And part of the problem was the bird flu wiped out a ton of egg-laying hens across the country, including your flock.
Right, which was part of the reason that the prices went so high up, because nobody had eggs last year. Yeah, so we lost our flock, about 3,000 birds last year. And what happened was a lot of the producers thought it might happen again this year. So they got way more hens, and we have way too many eggs, and the bird flu didn't happen.
Yeah, and some experts have actually said that that has led to too many eggs, too much supply for the same amount of demand, which is why prices are so low right now, causing challenges for small egg producers across the country. In Madison, Illinois, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
It's not a new threat. In fact, experts say a parasite called Cyclospora tends to contaminate raw fruits and veggies every summer. And right now, it's causing people across several states to have long-lasting bouts of illness.
They invade the intestine, causing diarrhea, which can be watery, cause abdominal cramps, and may last for several weeks.
Dr. Amish Adalja with the Center for Health Security at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health says eating produce exposed to contaminated water can allow the parasite to enter the body. There have been 145 reported cases acquired in the U.S. that have made people sick in 17 states, according to the latest CDC data from May 1st to June 16th. In that time, there have been 20 hospitalizations reported and no deaths.
For this particular outbreak, they haven't found the common source.
Adalja says washing produce won't eliminate the threat, but can reduce the risk. Before eating, cutting, or cooking fruits and vegetables, wash them thoroughly under running water. Scrub firm fruits and veggies like melons and cucumbers with a clean produce brush, and cut away any damaged or bruised areas on produce before preparing and eating. Cooking fruits and vegetables can also lower risk. Just make sure any cut, peeled, or cooked produce is refrigerated within 2 hours.
The best thing you can do is be judicious about where you're getting your produce from, washing it as best you can, and then being on the alert for any symptoms that occur.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
I can officially announce that Dolly, a true original musical, is coming to Broadway.
You heard it from the source. The musical about Dolly Parton's life, loves, losses, and finding her way heads to Broadway in December. The music legend says it includes some of her biggest hits and new songs Parton wrote for the show. More info at dollymusical.com. New music from U2. Street of Dreams is from the band's first new studio album in 9 years. They shot the video in Mexico City in May. The album, no title announced yet, is due out later this year. In September, it'll be 50 years since U2 formed in Dublin.
Hey, you and I can heal the past. And together, we can build a new world.
Welcome to Team Avatar.
Return to the Four Nations with
Once upon a time, Ma and Pa and Mary and Laura left the big woods of Wisconsin and moved to the prairie.
Little House on the Prairie returns to television in a new Netflix series.
Tell me, Mr. Ingalls, what brought you to this land?
A fresh start for my family.
I felt a lot of responsibility to honor Laura's legacy and to give her story justice because she really was an amazing woman, a writer, a storyteller, and she inspired scores of people.
They did such an amazing job with all of the sets and everything. Like, the inside of the Ingalls house is like an absolute dream come true because, like, you know, I spent my whole childhood reading the books and imagining what the house would be like, and then to step inside the house for the first time, it was like everything I had been envisioning in my head had come to life in, like, right in front of me.
Every day and every night was an adventure.
The creators made something so beautiful, and once I got the script, I was so inspired by how expansive this show is.
The great thing is, I know that everyone who's involved in making this show is making it with their whole heart and is making it with their heart in the right place.
They were happy because they were a family and they were together.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Over here, get the peace sign, please. Straight on, please. Straight ahead, Ringo. Yeah. There you go. Ringo, straight ahead. Straight ahead, Ringo. 4, 3, 2, 1. Peace and love. Peace and love, everybody. I want to thank you one more time for coming out today.
I was celebrating Global Beatles Day the other day, my friend, and I went to a record store. Hundreds of people there, they were all younger than me.
Yeah.
That's...
Imagine how young they are to me.
Right, it's crazy. What do you put that down to when you think about it?
I don't know. I think I know how to deal with kids. I've got 10 grandkids.
You've just announced a new leg of the tour. You've just come off a leg of the tour. You just released Long, Long Road. When music isn't a job, what role does music play in your life?
Well, it's always in my life. I mean, that's the point. And, you know, I've been calling the last tour since like 2021. And my kids are fed up with me now. I said, no, that's it. I'm not going out anymore. Oh, Dad, you said that last year. And I'm out again. I'm out this year.
Yeah.
So it's what I do.
Yeah.
You know,
well.
It's how it is.
Yeah.
It's deadline day for Sean Oster and his year-round holiday skeleton display. The city of South Milwaukee ordered him to take them down, citing ordinance violations and warning of possible fines. The notice specifically references large Halloween decorations being displayed not during an appropriate time of year. He was also ordered to make other improvements to his property.
I hopefully will come to an agreement with the city and they'll get to stay. Everything else has been taken care of. Shouldn't be any issues at all.
Since we last spoke in June, the Institute for Justice, a public interest law firm, has come to his aid, saying the city's actions violate Sean's First Amendment rights. The city administrator tells me they're not commenting pending an investigation. The dispute has divided neighbors.
It's part of my everyday life.
Charlotte Day sees it from her backyard.
I'm perfectly fine with the display, but I do understand that the condition of the yard does not really match up with the vibe of the display.
Some other neighbors agree.
I think it should be kept up. It brings a lot of positivity.
Do you think it should be taken down, or do you think it should stay up?
I like it. I think it should stay up, you know. I think he should be able to do what he want to do.
Definitely stay up. Absolutely.
But not everyone agrees. Of the 10 neighbors I spoke with, 7 support the display, 3 want it gone and want to see consistent upkeep of the yard.
There's times when the owner hasn't really gotten out there to pick up the pieces when the skeleton falls over, or sometimes the clothing on the skeleton gets kind of raggedy from probably rain and wind, and it's not kept up to a showcase standard.
Oster still hopes to reach an agreement with the city.
This is what San Mateo police found inside a Waymo Monday afternoon, along with 2 teenage boys. Officers say the boys were drinking and they were messing around with a toy gun that appears to have been painted over. They say the teens were firing gel-based pellets known as Orbeez, which are similar to paintballs.
About 2:10, we got a call from a Waymo rep stating that there were 2 people in their vehicle and they saw them shooting out of the vehicle. And then they also described the passengers as maybe being intoxicated as well.
There are a number of cameras inside Waymo vehicles, but the company says it only accesses the live video in urgent circumstances. Police tell us in this case, there was someone watching, monitoring what was happening in real time. Waymo gave police a play-by-play.
I'm not sure what led to them learning about what was going on in their vehicle, but once they had the information, they did contact us immediately, told us what they saw, told us where the vehicle was, and then they were actually able to disable the vehicle for us.
The Waymo pulled over at 20th Avenue and El Camino Real in San Mateo.
They did say they were able to disable the vehicle and used a ruse just to tell the passengers, oh, the car's having trouble, so that we could set up and get into position.
When police arrived, they treated it as a high-risk traffic stop, some responding with stun guns and a police dog. Police say the teens cooperated with authorities and that no one was hurt, and they applaud Waymo operations for reaching out.
And they were right in calling us and letting us figure it out.
I think that's dangerous.
Parent Gina Garces says the teens made a bad choice, firing a toy gun from a moving car. She's surprised about what Waymo authorities did, but glad they acted quickly.
I like what the Waymo was doing and being protective.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then, stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, plus 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush, fast-paced news updates featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True crime warrior style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look, to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app, available on Android and iOS devices, streaming 24/7.
There's more to Fox 54 Plus with the Locked On Podcast Network. From the Tide to the Tigers, from college teams to pro, the Locked On Podcast Network gives you insights and analysis you just can't find anywhere else.
These kids, they want to play.
I don't think so. I think it was Chad Baker Mazzara.
Locked On Sports, streaming every day of the week and right here on Fox 54 Plus.
This is what he's going to tell you.
Trying to find the first place to put a body.
No, sir. The only thing they could do was kill him.
The jury to find the defendant